Good afternoon, Sergei Viktorovich. On Monday, U.S. President Donald Trump stated that the U.S. might look at Cuba after resolving all issues with Iran. How do you assess the likelihood of this U.S. threat against Cuba being carried out, and what consequences could such a step have both for Cuba itself and for the situation in the world as a whole? And has Cuba approached Russia with a request for mediation in negotiations with the United States?
Thank you. I will not speculate right now, because we have heard many statements from Washington, and far from all of these statements subsequently took on the material form of practical actions. We have repeatedly confirmed our firm support for the sovereignty and independence of our Cuban friends. And the statements of Cuba's leadership, including President Diaz-Canel, confirm the resolve to defend the freedom of the Island of Freedom to the end by all methods at their disposal. We, of course, provide Cuba, as does the People's Republic of China, with support, both political, within the framework of the United Nations, and at other forums, and economic and humanitarian. We sent the first tanker with 100,000 tons of oil for Cuba. Of course, that will last a couple of months. I am not an expert, but that we will continue such assistance, and that the People's Republic of China will also continue to participate in such support, I have no doubt whatsoever. And I very much hope that the United States will not return to the times of direct colonial wars, of colonial suppression of free peoples. It was not Cuba that refused dialogue with Washington for many long decades. Washington did everything to isolate the Cuban state, although the Europeans maintained diplomatic relations with Cuba for a long time and continue to maintain those relations, while Washington tried to change the regime by strangling the Cuban economy. And this line, unfortunately, continues now. I would advise the United States, in all those situations where it dislikes some government, to begin a dialogue with that government. Not a single example in history, including Venezuela, has ever refused dialogue with the USA. The USA would reach agreements and then retreat from its own promises. And there were agreements with Cuba even under the Obama administration. Agreements that Havana accepted and which were mutually respectful and mutually beneficial. With courtesy and good manners, one can achieve far more than with the opposite traits of human character.